And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's game at the Rouses Point Civic Center between the Ganienkeh Gunners and the Kahnawahke Mohawks on Hometown Cable. Al Brion along with Mike Rice. Mike, the Gunners have been doing quite well in their past recent games.
They definitely have there, Al. A big win coming in 2 weeks ago. The Gunners upsetting the then #1 team, Onondaga Warriors, 7-6 in the Rouses Point Civic Center. And if you weren't there, you missed it. Boy, that was an interesting game.
And the Gunners have won 5 out of the past 7 games, and they have 5 games to go as they are currently 7-9 on the regular season, and the Kahnawahke Mohawks are 16-1. Tuck Baranowski is about to take the face-off in this one, and we're looking forward to a good match right here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. The whistle is blown, and the Mohawks are in pursuit of the ball as number 11, Alan Horn, picks it up. He was released from the Kahnawahke Mohawks at the earlier of this year, and now he's playing for Ganienkeh. The Kahnawahke Mohawks are changing as we speak, and we have Dustin McCumber passing it over to Bobby Delarone. Don't stand in front of his shot. It is a hard one. Bobby Delarone comes into Ganienkeh's zone right now, tries to find an open man. It hits the glass, bounces off, and there's a change of possession. Whistle is blown. Number 11, Alan Horn for Kahnawahke, over to number 28, Steve Jacobs. And there's a loose ball on the play right now, and Kahnawahke picks it up. Adam Rice, number 5 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, passes it up. Number 11 is David Horn for the Ganienkeh Gunners. Thank you very much, Michael Rice. Number 14, Derek Stacey, runs in. He's about to take a shot. His shot on goal, and it bounces right off the glass, and Ganienkeh gets the ball. The Gunners goalie passes it over to the Gunner player. Number 15, Jamie Kirby, 23 years of age for the Ganienkeh Gunners, and a highly touted player on this team. There's a save by Mark Jocks, and the Mohawks pick up the ball and come up the floor. Clayton Daibo for the Mohawks comes over, comes on the right-hand side. Mohawks make a change. Clayton finds Bobby Delarone. Bobby Delarone. There's 4 people on the floor right now. Bobby takes a shot. It hits a Gunner stick, and it bounces right into the corner. There's a loose ball. David Montour tries to get it, but he is creamed in the boards by Jay Delarone. And the whistle is blown. The 30-second shot clock is over, and the Mohawks get the ball, but Mark Baranowski calls a change of possession on the play, and Bobby Delarone is trying to stick to his man, who is going off right now, who happens to be Ryan Deere, number 6 for the Gunners. Gunners changing as the play goes up the floor. There's no scoring. 17:35 left in the first period at the Rouses Point Civic Center. Kahnawahke gets the ball. Herbie Lahash up to Adam Rice. Adam Rice over to Neil Cross. Neil Cross over to Derek Stacey on the right side. Comes in, and his men are covered, but there's a shot that deflects off Steve Bonspiel for the Gunners, and there's a loose ball. Dustin McCumber gets it for the Mohawks. Changing hands, flips it over to nobody, except a Mohawk player picks it off the floor. Neil McCumber, who just came back from an injury, passes it to Dustin McCumber, and the change of possession.
Looks like Neil McCumber is favoring his leg there, Al.
Probably has to do with the cement, which is a little bit of a factor, as I was told a couple of minutes ago, that when you have a glaze of cement on the floor, it acts like a sheath, and it's very slippery, kind of like what we saw against Valleyfield in the first game of the Kahnawahke Valleyfield series at the beginning of this year.
Well, according to the players in the league there, Al, they said that this surface is one of the worst in the league, and it's very slippery.
Well, let's hope nobody falls and injures themselves as Mikey Lazar comes in for the Mohawks. Mikey over to Bobby Delarone. Bobby over to Dave Montour. Bounces off the glass. Mikey Lazar with a shot on goal. Change of possession for the Ganienkeh Gunners. David Montour tries to get down his man, and Kevin Wells misses Steve Jacobs on the pass as there's a check into the boards by Dave Montour. There is a Gunner who gets the ball, number 9, Phil Swamp. And there's a Loose ball. Dave Montour comes up the floor for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, and we have a shot on goal and a save by the Ganienkeh goaltender as the Gunners make changes.
Well, that Robert Gray is looking pretty sharp in nets.
And he'll be having to be on his game as the Mohawks are 16-1 on the regular season, and both teams have 17 players in the lineup. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Gunners ball, and it goes into the corner. It ball's loose, off the glass. 1 second left, and there's a change of possession as the ball goes into the stands here at the Rouses Point Arena.
Well, Al, it appears that both teams are starting to get into the game plan of tonight's game. They're starting to loosen up. They're starting to create some excitement, and you can see the players on the floor. They're getting into it. They're feeling each other out, Al.
14 minutes and 53 seconds left in the first period. There is no score in this game. As Mike said, that both teams are feeling each other out on the floor. And there's a shot on goal, and Robert Gray makes the save, and the Gunners get the ball. Number 15, Jamie Kirby, loses it to Neil McCumber for the Mohawks, number 55. And it looked like a penalty on the play, but nobody called it there. 14, Derek Stacey walks in to Robert Gray, takes a shot on goal. But there's no change of possession yet. Bounces off the boards, and the Gunners get the ball. We have number 25, Mike DeLille for the Gunners. There's the loose ball, and a change of possession. 13, Jay Delarone comes in, just about to load up for a shot. And a weak flip pass over to number 12, David Horn. And the Mohawks get the ball. 19, Desiree McCumber misses a check from number 18, Elliot Lazor. Ball comes off the boards and down to David McCumber, number 77, a nice addition to the Kahnawahke Mohawks. Number 12 is Alan Horn. Number 11 is David Horn. Thank you very much, Michael Rice. Jay Delarone with the ball for the Gunners and misses a pass to his own player, and the Mohawks get the ball up the floor. Robert Gray makes a save, and Mikey Lazar is on him. Loose ball, and the Mohawks get the ball on the change as the Gunner player stood in the crease of Robert Gray.
Well, the Gunners are going to have to be careful. They're looking a little bit shaky around the net.
And Roger Moses takes a shot, and there's a goal for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. And it's Roger Moses getting the first goal of the game with 13 minutes and 5 seconds left. A good shot by Roger Ed.
Definitely there. That was a submarine shot. It was low. He didn't appear to be that dangerous, but Gray might have misjudged that shot there, Al, and it went through beneath his legs, underneath his stick. And as I was mentioning earlier, Ganienkeh has to watch out. I think they're having a bit of the jitters here earlier in the game. We saw some missed passes, some poor passes, some loss of possession, and they're going to have to be very careful because Kahnawahke is very talented around the net when they have the ball.
And it's always a tentative game between Kahnawahke and Ganienkeh. The Gunners coming into the league 2 years ago, and they didn't fare that well in their first season, but they have won their past five out of the past 7 games and are vying for a playoff spot in the Iroquois Lacrosse Association. As the play goes into Mohawk zone, whistle is blown, and it's Gunner ball. As Clayton Dybo tries to make a point to Mark Marinowski, that won't work. Gunners get the ball. Number 28, Steve Jacobs for the Gunners. He is checked by Clayton Dybo into the boards, and Mohawks regain possession and come to the floor. On a 1-on-2, we have Herbie Kirby on the left side. Tries to find his man, but he takes a shot instead. Robert Gray makes the save. Kent Saylor tries to pick up the ball and misses. DJ McCumber on the defense for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. Over to Derek Stacey. Derek Stacey always dangerous with the shot, and he has been keeping his temper for a while, and he scores! Derek Stacey on yet another submarine shot, and that makes the score 2-0 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks with 12 minutes left in the first period.
Well, Al, I think what the Mohawks are doing is they're working on their past knowledge. Robert Gray was formerly the goaltender for the Snai Warriors, and I think they know that different goalies have different patterns. So what they're doing is they're going low. Derek Stacey on an assist from Neil McCumber. I don't know if there's going to be a second assist on that one, and it's unfortunate, Al, that we don't have somebody in the scorekeeper's area to give us the official stats, but that is Derek Stacey, number 14, from Neil McCumber, 55. At the we have 11 minutes and 56 seconds left in the first period.
Well, it appears that the The timekeeper ran down 6 seconds off the clock. It was actually 12 minutes and 2 seconds as the play gets underway again for the Gunners.
Well, it must be the exchange there on the Canadian and American currency. It's also affecting the time here, Al.
Nicely put. Nicely put. Very well said. Mohawks in Gunner's zone. Passes it back to David McCumber. David McCumber up to DJ McCumber and bounces it off. Dave McCumber tries to get the ball. Loose ball. Dave McCumber picks it up. Another loose ball. DJ McCumber has the ball. Back pass over to Bobby Delarone. In the crease, Dave McCumber. And Robert Gray makes a save. And yet another shot and another save. Roger Red making a great shot. Robert Gray putting the Gunners back into the game. Another flip pass over to David McCumber as Doje is whacked. And he is, actually that was David Montour, not Doje McCumber. They both have the same frame with different numbers, but same kind of grit. The Gunners with the ball comes up the floor. One-handed pass over to number 25, Mike DeLille. And there's a penalty on the play. I believe it's interference on the Kahnawahke Mohawks. And that's what's going to be the call. David Montour going off for 2 minutes with 10 minutes 44 seconds left.
Well, this has got to be a big opportunity for the Ganienkeh Gunners there, Al. We saw the Gunners going away on a break. They almost had a 2-0, and then the referees called a penalty, and I believe that's going to be David Steak Montour. So if anything, I think they're giving a big gift here to the Gunners, giving them a power play opportunity because their power play has been pretty hot the last 5 or 6 games there, Al.
With 10 minutes and 44 seconds left, it is 2-0 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks over the Ganienkeh Gunners. You're listening to Gunners LaCrosse on Hometown Cable here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. Al Briand along with Michael Rice.
Well, Al, let's notice here we're getting a fine crowd coming out. The stands are filling up, and boy, what a thing to do here on a Thursday evening, but watch a game of lacrosse.
It's like the Ganienkeh fans want to go across the border into Canada, do some shopping up there. And there's a goal by the Gunners. It is 2-1 for Ganienkeh, as I was confused on that play to see who actually took the shot and hit the net, but it appears to be.
I believe that's Phil Swamp. He got the feed there, and boy, he wound up and he found net there on Mark Jocks, and Mark Jocks is leaning back in his net wondering, saying, how did that ball get by me? Mark Jocks has been pretty solid in goal, and any team who can get a ball by him, that's no small compliment.
And any team that scores a goal on the Kahnawahke Mohawks is kind of hard to do, simply because the Mohawks have the best defense in the league as well as the best goaltending in the league. 2-1 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks as the Gunners scored Phil Swamp on that play. 10 minutes and 17 seconds left, and they are at the face-off circle, and the whistle is blown. Loose ball into Kahnawahke zone. Herbie Lahash for the Mohawks, a stalwart on defense. And he loses the ball on the play. Neil Cross gets it. There's a lot of hacking of lacrosse sticks in the corner. And another loose ball. And there's a Gunner down on the play as ball goes up the floor. It is a 2-on-2. And what a slash on Doje McCumber. And there's another hit. And the referee right in front of it doesn't make a call. Sees that it's a fair play, and both teams get back into the action. Kent Saylor, as the 30-second shot clock expires, Kent Saylor for the Mohawks in his, not his last game, his past 2 games. He has 4 goals and 2 assists, and he also recorded his first hat-trick of his lacrosse career against the Valleyfield Dynamites last Thursday night.
Well, it's got to be a big moment for him. I think any player who gets a hat-trick always wants to remember that one there, Al.
There's a shot on goal for Ganienkeh as number 9 takes a shot. And it's Phil Swamp who takes a shot. Gunners get it. And number 11, David Horn. And now it's David Horn. There's a check on the play. Nobody saw from behind, and Clayton Dibo falls to the floor for the Mohawks.
Well, I think what the referees are doing tonight, Al, is I think they're letting some things go because they want both teams to play.
And that's exactly what it is like with 8:45 left in the first period. The Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 2-1.
Well, if the viewers have never seen a wide-open, old-fashioned lacrosse game, this is one of them. You see the big hits, the big checks, and you see a lot of end-to-end action there, Al.
And Bobby Delarone almost took a big fall in front of Mark Jocks as the floor starts to become a factor. Two Ganienkeh players run into each other. 25, Mike DeLille, as well as number 9, Phil Swamp, collide into each other. But Ganienkeh does not get the ball. It's the Mohawks, and Roger Red comes to the floor. Roger Red Moses for the Mohawks. And there's a change by the Kahnawahke team.
What they're doing there, Al, is they're doing the hidden ball trick.
Lithy, let me pull a rabbit out of a hat. Nothing number 3, Presto! And the Kahnawahke Mohawks lose possession, and the Gunners get the ball. Jamie Kirby bounce pass up the floor to number 12, who is Alan Horn. Alan Horn takes a shot. Mark Jocks makes a save. Loose ball on the play, and the Mohawks regain possession. Adam Rice. Actually, no, that's Bobby Delarone. Bobby Delarone loses his man. Mohawks make another change. And Kent Saylor comes up the floor. Almost gets nailed by a Gunner. Kent Saylor comes in. And there's a change of possession. And the Gunners regain possession with Kelly Williams getting the ball for the Ganienkeh Gunners. Bounce pass up the floor to number 19, Steve Bonspiel. Probably his first hit of the night. There's a shot on goal. Actually, not a shot on goal. It bounces all the way down to Robert Gray, and he passes it over to a Gunner player who comes up the floor. Pass center court, just past center court, over to Kahnawahke player. Comes in, 28. Steve Jacobs with the shot. Mark Jocks make the save for the Mohawks. There's another back pass, not a shot on goal, and Herbie Kirby tries to get by Kelly Williams. He does. Finds Dudley McCumber, but he decides to comes in on the right side. Makes a fake, fakes back, over to Dudley McCumber. McCumber passed over to Landon Goodleaf. Actually, it's not Landon. It's Mark Mayo wearing the number 24 for tonight, as Landon Goodleaf is not in the lineup for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, and the Gunners regain control of the ball. Philip White comes up the floor, blue helmet and all, over to a Gunner player, number 28, that's Steve Jacobs, in the white helmet. As they come right to left on your television screen, Mark Jocks makes a save for the Mohawks, who are now going left to right on your television screen. No, it's not Dick Irvin. It's David McCumber with the ball right now. Comes in on defense. Dave McCumber has been shining as of late for the Mohawks. In his past 4 games, he's totaled at least 18 points, including a 7-goal game for the Kahnawahke player over the Valleyfield Dynamite, with 5:37 left in the first period, as the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading a very close game, Mike. It's 2-1 score.
Definitely it is there, Al. Both teams have been trying to keep this close, and they're very tentative. You know, they're making their opportunities, but they're also very tentative, not wanting to give the other a big advantage.
As the Gunners come in, there's a check on the play, bounces into the mesh, and there's a change of possession, no penalty, and Mark Jocks gets the ball. Bounce pass to Dudley McCumber on the right side for the Kahnawahke Mohawk. There's a slash, and there's no call on the play. Robert Gray makes a save, bounces it over to the corner. We have Ken Saylor coming in. It is a white ball. Actually, it's Gunner ball. The Gunners come out of their own zone right now. Cross center, number 19. Steve Bonspiel comes in on the right side. Tries to find his man, number 22, Andy Thomas. Andy Thomas in the corner for the Gunners. And just about ready to take a shot. He does. There's a save. And Mark Jocks makes a save for the Mohawks. And there's a penalty on the play.
I believe he's going to be getting called. Andy Thomas is going to be getting called on follow-through. We'll see if Mark Baranowski calls it. And I believe that's what it's going to be there, Al. Whenever you're taking a shot on goal, you have to be in control of your stick at all times. And even though you take the shot, it comes through and hits the opposing team's player, they get the power play opportunity. And
Andy Thomas is going off for 2 minutes on the follow-through penalty. And it is 4 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first period. The score is Kahnawahke Mohawks 2, the Ganienkeh Gunners 1. You're listening to Hometown Cable here at the Rouses Point Civic Center.
Well, Al, we better watch that clock, because you know they're always playing tricks on us. This clock only goes up to 19 minutes, so I think there might be 5 minutes and 32 seconds, but I've learned that from experience.
Then again, it could be the U.S. Canadian currency, timetable currency.
I think it was part of Glasnost. I think the Russians donated it to Rouses Point.
Das Vidanya. And there's a penalty for nobody right now as Mark Marinowski calls the play into Ganienkeh zone as the Mohawks go off and make changes. We do have David McCumber, Derek Stacy, who's taken a few shifts in this first period. He hasn't been on as often as he should be, but he's playing on a line with Adam Rice and Bobby Delarone. Bobby Delarone point shot, look out. David McCumber gets the ball over to off a Ganienkeh player into Robert Gray, and the play goes to the Kahnawahke Mohawks. David McCumber gets the ball for Kahnawahke, number 77, over to Adam Rice. And Chuck Marinowski has called the play into the corner as there's some expletive deleted on the play, and we won't dare mention that over the air.
Seems to be some confusion there, Al. It appears that that's Ganienkeh ball, but the referees gave it back to Kahnawahke.
And David McCumber passes back to Bobby Delarone. Bobby Delarone over to Adam Rice. Adam Rice, David McCumber takes a shot. Robert Gray makes a save. Gunners trying to bat the ball. Mohawks do. Over to Adam Rice. 3 minutes left, or 4 minutes left in the first period. And the Mohawks are on a power play. David McCumber loses the ball. And once again, that loose wet floor, or not, kind of like sheathing concrete. I don't know how you can describe it, but it's apparently giving way to both teams, Kahnawahke and the Gunners. 77, David McCumber, and he kind of felt that one on the play as he's favoring his left leg as he has a knee brace on it. He apparently injured it during the 1998 Canadian Masters Lacrosse Championship, which was held in Kahnawahke, and he's favoring it just a little bit. Bobby Delarone makes a shot, and Robert Gray makes a save. It is Gunner ball right now as soon as they pick it up, and they do. We do have Jamie Kirby coming in the right side over to Andy Thomas. Andy Thomas, 25. And Mike DeLille makes a shot. Mark Jocks makes a save with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. And Bobby Delarone gets the ball for the Mohawks. And we're going to see some changes on both sides for Kahnawahke and Ganienkeh. And Herbie Kirby picks up the ball for the Mohawks. Bounce pass to DJ McCumber. Over to Kent Saylor, and Robert Gray makes a save. Kent Saylor finding his man, and he shoots again, and Robert Gray makes another save for the Gunners. And Kahnawahke is pressing there, Mike.
They definitely are there. And what Ganienkeh has to do is they got to gain possession, and they got to make some offensive strikes against Kahnawahke.
Does McCumber with the shot. Kent Saylor fakes, and there's a save on the play by Robert Gray. Robert Gray is doing well.
There's no gray area on him there, Al. He's solid in nets.
What a pun. I like that pun. 1 minute, 22 seconds left in the first period as the Kahnawahke Mohawks lead by 1.
Well, Al, what some of the viewers are hearing is some of the fans are not appreciative of the officiating, and this is a complaint we've been hearing all season long.
And there was a hold on a play by number 18, Elliot Lazor, but no call was made. And Barry Alfred, the coach of Kahnawahke, was very verbal about that.
Well, they definitely are, Al. We've been hearing it. We've heard some expletive comments made, which we do not care to repeat. But, you know, when the referees are out there, it's a tough job that they got to make.
We may do that off air, but on air, nah, we can't. Gunners lose possession. Michael Lazar with the ball up to DJ McCumber on the left side. McCumber over to, looks like Bobby Delarone on the point. Always dangerous on the point for Kahnawahke, as he has a number of goals from the point this year. Derek Stacey comes in, nobody in front of him. Fakes, and there's somebody and there's a shot right off the post. Robert Gray didn't see that, and the play goes down to Bobby Delarone with 20 seconds left in the first period, and almost 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Bobby Delarone over to Michael Lazar. Michael Lazar, Derek Stacey misses the ball and changes possession, and it is Gunner's ball with 10 seconds left in the first period as both teams make changes.
I don't know what's happened here tonight, Al, but I think the humidity might be affecting both teams because they're missing simple passes and simple plays. They're not finishing. So this might play a factor in the game if both teams can't finish as they normally do.
As the clock winds down and the first period comes to an end, and the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 2-1. It is very tentative. Like, both teams have been kind of not loose, but very tight in this game.
They definitely have there, Al. They're both coming out. They appear to be feeling each other out, but I think that they may be a bit tired, you know, from the weather. It's extremely hot, the humidity, may have sapped their energy. They're a bit off. If you just look at the goal scoring for the first period, you got Roger Red Moses scoring first for Kahnawahke. Then you had number 14, Derek McCumber from Neil McCumber. But Ganienkeh, for their part, got their first power play goal of the game from Phil Swamp, number 9. And in a game of lacrosse, 2-1 is a very low score. And it's very rare you ever see this happen. But we've seen this happen 2 weeks ago when the Onondaga Warriors were here. It was a very tight defensive contest. The Ganienkeh Gunners came out 7-6, so we may see another low-scoring game tonight.
Al Brion along with Michael Rice here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. You're actually watching Gunners Lacrosse here on Hometown Cable. The score after 1 period of play, the Kahnawahke Mohawks 2, the Ganienkeh Gunners 1. And we're back on Hometown Cable here at the Rouses Point Civic Center, where the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 2-1. A very close period, Mike.
Definitely very close. This sounds like a hockey score, but in the game of lacrosse, it's normal to see 2-1 leads in the first 5 minutes, but not after a whole period of play. But it looks like it's going to be a very tight defensive game because both goalies on each end are playing solid. Looking at Mark Jocks for the Mohawks, he's solid nets, and Robert Gray, there's no gray area on him. He's playing solid likewise. As
we get to the face-off circle, Chuck Baranowski has both players around the ball, and the whistle is blown. The beginning of the second period. As the Gunners are going right to left on your television screen, the Mohawks will be going left to right. Loose ball, and the Gunners get possession of it. And Phil Swamp comes in, right-hand side. Back to the defenseman, over to Steve Jacobs. Right side, comes over, takes a shot. Mark Jocks makes the save, and a very clean save by Mark Jocks. Now bounce pass over to Dustin McCumber. Dustin McCumber comes up the floor for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. He injured himself a couple of games ago, but he doesn't look like he's back to 100%, but he's back with the Mohawks.
Well, the Mohawks got a bad call there. They got caught with too many men on the floor by referee Mark Baranowski, and they're not too happy about it, but they're going to take it.
And take it they shall with 1 minute gone in the second period.
Well, there, Al, we saw some of the fans there, John Cree, giving the refs thumbs up for that call.
Well, you know what they say. You miss one, and you get one right back. Maybe a few minutes later.
But that's something that I think the league really has to take a look at there, Al. We might joke around about the officiating, but it is serious that there's a lot of disenchantment throughout the league with the fans, management, teams, and players about the officiating. That's something the league's going to have to improve on, Al, because it also takes away from the game, because you want to see the players go out and play their best and they may the best team win.
All right, we have a number 88 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, who does not appear to be Aaron Norton.
That appears to be Corey Markley, who is doing the number change on us.
All right, so now he goes from number 2 to number 88. If Aaron was here, I don't think he'd like that.
I think he was promoted.
Good call. Jamie Kirby over to number 25, which is Mike DeLille. Shot on goal. Mark Jocks makes a save, and the Mohawks go back to the floor. Big check, loose ball. Adam Rice gets it for Kahnawahke. 88, Kevin Wells tries to go after Adam Rice. Another loose ball. And the Gunners regain possession. And Steve Jacobs makes a shot, but it's not on goal. The Gunners regain possession as Mike DeLille comes in. Shot over to number 9, Phil Swamp, on the right side. Phil Swamp over to Jamie Kirby at the top. Over to Mike DeLille with the shot on goal. And actually there's no shot on goal. It goes off the ceiling, and the Mohawks regain possession as Herbie Lahash gets the ball for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. Bounce pass up the floor, and it's got to go right back to Herbie Lahash as Mark Baranowski calls the play. Mark Jocks with the ball over to Herbie Lahash. Herbie tries to come out of his zone as 88 Kevin Wells tries to make the play on him. Bounce passes over to Robert Gray. Gray over to Jamie Kirby, and Kirby steps over the white line, steps over the center line, and comes into Kahnawahke's zone. Jamie Kirby flips pass over to number 28, Steve Jacobs, and Mark Jocks makes the save as Roger Moses picks up the ball. Long pass. And there appears to be Kahnawahke ball.
It definitely is there, Al. That's the second time Mark Baranowski has called back the ball because the Kahnawahke players were shooting up the ball before the ball had been whistled back in play.
So Ganienkeh regains possession, and Roger Moses, another long lead pass, a very dangerous pass. Derek Stacy almost got smoked on that play. And it's just a Macumber. There's a hold on the play, and the referees don't see it. But we do, luckily. And so do you do on Hometown Cable.
But Al, we don't want to be referees.
That's right. We'll be armchair referees. And you can be the judge of that. Gunner ball right now. In behind Robert Gray. Passes it over to number 28, Steve Jacobs. Jacobs has had a lot of floor time. And he will be as they take on the 16-1 Kahnawahke Mohawk. Shot on goal. Mark Jocks makes a save. And over to Adam Rice. On his off wing. Normally he's on the right-hand side. But now he's coming up on the left. And a right-handed shot. So he's definitely off his point. Over to David Macumber. Bounce pass to Ganienkeh player. Actually, not anymore. As it goes to the Ganienkeh Gunners. And David Macumber, it appears that he injured himself a while back in the first period. He's favoring his left leg as he goes off the floor for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, Mike.
Well, he's definitely going to have to watch out there because he has a weak knee there, Al, and I don't think he wants to re-injure it.
Jay Delarone with the ball. Actually, it's a bounce pass off the floor, and the Gunners regain possession temporarily. No, they don't. It is Elliot Lazor trying to get it. He doesn't get it. And we almost have a situation behind the play. Mark Mayo, number 24, is sticking to his man, but I don't think anything's going to happen. Jamie Kirby takes a shot. Mark Jocks with the save. And he just barely has to move in this one as the Gunners keep shooting right on goal. Hardly a fancy play by the Gunners.
What the Gunners got to do is they got to get Mark Jocks moving to create an opening to get some good scoring opportunities.
Clayton Dybo takes a shot for the Mohawks. And we see some pushing and shoving here. And a helmet flies off number 22, Andy Thomas. And it appears that Clayton Dybo is favoring his left knee on the play, as two players now for the Kahnawahke Mohawks have been bumped and jarred in the second period with 15 minutes and 8 seconds left. And we are going to be getting penalties on the play, or a penalty on the play for the Ganienkeh Gunners. And Mark Baranowski is at the penalty area, and there is somebody going off. Actually, wait a second. There is a goal for the Kahnawahke Mohawks that nobody appeared to see.
Well, I saw it there, Al. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I let you go. But it was appeared to be some confusion on the part of the Ganienkeh Gunners. But the referee, Chuck Baranowski, ruled that Clayton Dybo scored the goal. He went in, and I think he got slashed, Al, there behind the play. You seen him favoring his leg going off to the bench. But the referees have not given a penalty. Disregard that 1 minute and 28 seconds. It's always been up there. I don't know why. Maybe it's preserved in memory of somebody who always got penalties here. We're not saying who.
And we're not saying what his number is. But he's 27, 6 foot, 230. He played for the Gunners last year. Hurry Kirby with the shot. And Robert Gray makes yet another save. Whistle is blown. And the Mohawks make changes. And we are seeing a number of Kahnawahke Mohawks who are favoring themselves. Neil Macumber coming back in this game, favoring his left leg again. Another bounce pass. Adam Rice comes up the floor. Can he do it with a knee brace and all? Takes a hit, takes another spin. And he's trying to find Mark Mayo up the floor, but I don't believe he will. But he does pass it over to Bobby Delarone, takes a shot over to Roger Moses in the corner. Robert Gray made a save on that. And there's a high pass, trying to find David Macumber, Bobby Delarone, over to David Macumber. Roger Moses takes a shot. It is off the stick of a Ganienkeh player, and it is Gunner ball with 14 minutes and 2 seconds left in the second period. But no, it is not white ball. It is Mohawks ball, and Bobby Delarone gets it for the Mohawks. Spins, walks with the ball, with 20 seconds left on the clock. He fakes over to the right side. He's coming in, takes a shot, and there's no shot on the play, but a bounce pass. David McCumber gets it. 9 seconds left on the clock. Dave Steak Montour in the corner for the Mohawks takes a shot right off Robert Gray's shot on goal, and there's a fresh 30 on the shot clock. We do have Dave Montour takes a shot. Robert Gray makes a save, and we have Steve Jacobs picking up the ball, but intercepted. Bobby Delarone watched the pass, and a big shot and a big save for Robert Gray. And there's an injury on the play yet once again, and a charge. Derek Stacy gets charged by a Gunner player, and Dave Montour takes a big hit. David Horn makes a hit on Derek Stacy, and the Gunners get the ball, and there's no penalty on the play. Steve Jacobs takes a shot. Mark Jocks makes a save as a Gunner loses the helmet, and it appears to be number 17, Philip White, who probably has the second shift of the game. And because of the floor being in faulty areas, it's not a good thing.
Well, if anybody's got any luck there, Kahnawahke got away with 2 hits there, hitting their man who didn't have the ball, and they're not getting called in a penalty.
Mike DeLille bounce pass over to Steve Jacobs, flips it over to nobody as it goes off the boards, and Jacobs regains possessions. And Jamie Kirby flips, and he gets hit by Seal Robertson, makes a shot. Mark Jocks makes a save, and the ball goes over the glass. And Kent Saylor picks it up. The good doctor flips it over to Dustin McCumber, and there's a change of possession as Mark Baranowski has called it, and Gunners get the ball.
Well, what happened there, Al, is when your team has possession, you can't put a hit on your opponent. What happened was Seal Robertson put a hit on Mike DeLille, and they lost possession.
With 12 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second period on Hometown Cable, you're watching Gunners LaCrosse at the Rouses Point Civic Center, where it is 3-1 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, and a very close-knit game. Herbie Lahash comes up the floor, loses the ball, and almost takes a big hit for number 18, Elliot Lazor, as Herbie goes off on the play. Shot on goal. Derek Stacy scores, and the Kahnawahke Mohawks are now leading the Ganienkeh Gunners 4-1 with 11 minutes and 47 seconds left.
Well, they want to take the lead here, Al. Derek Stacy getting a second from the game there on a nice feed from Herbie Kirby, who's playing against his brother there, Jamie Kirby, who's playing for the Gunners. But Al, if we just go back there a bit earlier, we've seen some big hits out there on the floor. And Kahnawahke, for their part, got away with their lucky charms, not getting called in a penalty, hitting their man without the ball and behind the play.
Well, the way Derek Stacy has been scoring, he's kind of magically delicious in this one.
Definitely is, but I think what they want to do is they want to avoid taking any penalties and giving the Gunners any chances.
Because the Gunners, as of late, have had a pretty good power play, as they have won their past 5 out of 7 games, even though they have 5 games left. And 3 of them are against the teams that they are chasing for the 4th playoff spot, as only the top 4 teams make it. The bottom 3 don't make it at all, and it looks like the Gunners may be able to slip in the back door.
Well, if they want to slip in the back door here, Al, they're going to have to close up their box defense and cut down the number of shots that the Mohawks are taking on Robert Gray, and they're going to have to increase their number of shots going on Mark Jocks if they want to get in, win this game, and win some valuable points.
Well, Kahnawahke is in Ganienkeh zone again. Bobby Delarone picks up the ball. Actually, no. Gunners regain control, and we have number 22, Andy Thomas, over to number 18, takes a shot, doesn't even hit the net. Andy Thomas goes back. 17 seconds left on the shot clock. And Thomas comes over the line. 66, Glenn Swamp. Haven't seen him much on the floor. Andy Thomas takes a shot. And like we said before, Mark Jocks does not have to move very much. He stands solid in nets, and the saves are coming very naturally to him.
Well, Mark Jocks was a great junior goalie there, Al. And he plays great position. The Ganienkeh Gunners got to move the ball around and get Mark Jocks moving if they want to get a good scoring opportunity.
Mark Jocks played the junior goalie for the Gloucester team back from 1983 to 1986. And there are 2 shots on goal. Mark Jocks makes a save. Didn't have to move very much. Lead pass over to Herbie Kirby, who had 8 points in the game against Valleyfield. Takes a shot on goal. And this floor seems to be having a problem as Kirby slips and falls. Number 11, we have David Horn. Over to number 9, shot on goal, and yet it's another shot on goal. And number 12, Alan Horn, for the Ganienkeh Gunners makes the score 4-2 with 9 minutes and 58 seconds left.
Well, Al, I think the Gunners got a radio on their bench. They must be listening to our analysis of the game. Alan Horn coming in, picking up the rebound there off Phil Swam and putting the ball into the net. And if anything, the Gunners needed that to restore some of their confidence, to stop the bleeding, and to keep the game close with Kahnawahke, because the last thing you want to do, Al, is fall behind with the Kahnawahke Mohawks, because once they get a big enough lead with you, after that, they start burying you.
As it has been for the duration of the season, the Mohawks are almost in first place. They can clinch with a win over the Ganienkeh Gunners tonight. They're 16-1 with 4 games left. The Onondaga Warriors have completed all their games at 16-4-1. They're only 1 point behind Onondaga.
Well, Al, I think it's safe to say that Kahnawahke's clinched it. Whether they win or lose tonight's game, I don't think anybody's going to come close to perfecting their record of only 1 loss.
And that was against the Onondaga Warriors back in May, as they took a 5-3 loss, probably the lowest scoring game in the ILA, as they lost that one. Herbie Lahash over to Duje Macumber. Off the boards, Macumber gets the ball, and the Mohawks make changes. Bounce pass over to Dave Macumber, who didn't see that ball, but the Gunners did, as Jay Delarone comes in and beats Duje Macumber, but doesn't beat David Macumber, as he gets Jay Delarone gets leveled on that play. Duje over to Clayton Daibu, who already has a goal in the game. Shot on goal, and there's a Gunner player down, but he gets right back up.
Well, I think what you're seeing now there, Al, you're seeing the Gunners start to open it up and use some of their speed.
And speed is what Jamie Kirby has, as he drops the ball over to Elliot Lazor. Actually, no, it's not Elliot Lazor. Steve Bonspiel. Jamie Kirby goes off the floor. Bonspiel passes it over to number 28, Steve Jacobs, on the defense. And the Gunners make changes. And there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Steve Jacobs takes a shot. Doesn't come anywhere near the net. There's a shot behind the play. And there's a checking from behind penalty. And it appears that it's going to go against the Kahnawahke Mohawks.
I didn't see that one there, Al, but I did see Chuck Baranowski signaling with his hand. It's going to be Clayton Daibu, and he was motioning that it looks like he pushed the player from behind. We missed it in all the excitement and all the action around the net.
Well, there's been plenty of excitement here at the Rouses Point Civic Center on Hometown Cable, and the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 4-2, and the Gunners will be going on a power play, which has been 1 for 2 on the night, as number 9 for the Gunners, Phil Swamp, scored the first goal for Ganienkeh in the first period, and they go on to power play again. Jamie Kirby over to Steve Jacobs. Jacobs with the shot, doesn't go on goal, but they do regain control. Jacobs misses the ball, and number 9, Phil Swamp, tries to get the ball, but he throws the stick and misses it, but there's no call on the play. As Ben Pacino, probably his first shift, comes in, and there's a play blown down, and there's a state of confusion here by the for the Kahnawahke bench, but Chuck Baranowski is going to rectify the situation right now with 8:23 left.
Well, there appears to be some there appears to be some confusion out there, Al, with the referees and the timekeepers. You heard some complaints coming from the Kahnawahke players. Also, some of the complaining was also coming from the Ganienkeh bench, and even some coming from the fans. So we're going to see what's going to go on here. They're going to settle this out, but everybody's in a state of confusion, ourselves included.
Well, one thing we're not confused about is the score, as it still remains 4-2 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks over the Ganienkeh Gunners. Duje Macumber gets the ball, and he passes it over to Kent Saylor, and there's a loose ball on the play. 88, Kevin Wells goes in the corner, but the ball comes back out to Kent Saylor. Kent Saylor goes back to the point. The good doctor loads up, and he can't seem to find an open Mohawk player.
Well, I think what he's doing there, Al, is because they're on a man down. Kahnawahke's trying to kill the clock, and Kent Saylor did a pretty good job of killing precious seconds on that power play opportunity for Ganienkeh.
And the Gunners are doing a pretty good job at blowing this penalty as the ball becomes loose again, but it is still loose. And number 9, Phil Swamp, picks it up. One guy in, can't find an open man, nobody in front except for number 88, Kevin Wells, and scores on the power play. 7:25 left It is now a 1-goal lead for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, 4-3.
I don't know what Ganienkeh was doing at that point there, Al, but it appeared that Phil Swamp was weaving some kind of magic, putting them to sleep. The Mohawks didn't look at Wells coming into the zone, picking up the loose ball. There was 3 Mohawks on Phil Swamp, and Phil Swamp saying, hey, I don't have the ball, it's bouncing between my legs. Where Wells says, hey, nobody's taking the ball, I am, and I'm putting it in the net.
And he did that, and it happens to be the second power play goal for the Ganienkeh Gunners, 2 of 3.
Definitely, and we hear some boisterous cheering there from the Ganienkeh fans.
As the score is now 4-3 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks with 7 minutes and 25 seconds left in the second period. The ball is soon to be dropped as soon as both players at center court have their sticks ready. They are, and LaCrosse gets the ball for the Mohawks. Weak pass back to Herbie LaHash, but LaHash gets it over to Duzin McCumber, and he is checked from behind from number 66. Glenn Swamp takes a slash, and David McCumber comes in, and there's a loose ball on the play, but McCumber takes a shot. Robert Gray makes a save, and Bobby Delarone is trying to find an open man as we speak, and he decides to load up, takes a shot, goes off the glass, bounce pass, and it's going to go into the stands as a lucky fan here at the Rouses Point Civic Center gets the ball.
Oh, you got to be happy about that. Anytime you go to a sporting event, you always want to get a souvenir from the game.
One thing we don't want to have happen is have the ball come launching into our area. I'll duck.
We prefer the balls hand delivered to us.
Thank you. 22 with Andy Thomas coming in. There's a check on the play, and Andy Thomas loses his helmet. Roger Moses comes in. Derek Stacy comes in with the ball, trying to find his 3rd goal, and there's a save by Robert Gray, and Moses takes a shot, and it goes off the glass, loose ball into the stands, and Roger Moses pushes his player into the boards. That's Alan Horn, who used to play with the Kahnawahke Mohawks until he was released from the team earlier on in the season. Andy Thomas, blue helmet, no chin strap. That's why he keeps losing his helmet a lot, as he's been roughed up on many occasions for the Ganienkeh Gunners. They get the ball. Phil Swamp on the right side. 10 seconds left on the clock. 5:43 left in the second period. Neil Cross covers his man, 25. Nice play by Neil Cross, defending against number 25, Mike DeLille. And it is Gunners' ball. A change of possession, and Ganienkeh will try to make it a tie game. There's a slash by Adam Rice on the play, and Adam Rice is felled by Andy Thomas. Phil Swamp, bounce pass, and it looks like Ben Paisano downed his man in front as Ben goes off for the second time in this game. Clayton Dybo, already having 1 goal in the game, takes a pass over to Corey Marquis, now wearing 88. Normally he's wearing 2. We got a check here. Bobby Delarone gets checked. David Montour scores, and now it's a 2-goal lead for the Kahnawahke Mohawks as they make it 5-3 with 5 minutes and 4 seconds left in the second period.
Well, the Mohawks want to restore their lead there, and you've seen David McCumber coming off the bench, showing his experience there as a veteran, and also as a recent Canadian Masters champion here in 1998. He came out, he picked up the ball, and I believe they're reading a pattern there on Gray there, Al. All of their goals have been down low bounce shots.
It's probably the same thing with Oneida, who have had a hard time with the low shots, as their goaltender stands about, well, let's say 8'11", covers almost all the area of the crease, but low shots go right by him. And the same thing happened for Robert Gray during the past 3 to 4 goals, and the Mohawks now lead by a score of 5-3. As we wait, the ball being in control, Mark Baranowski backs away, whistle is blown, and the play is underway. Kick pass to Herbie LaHash. Herbie LaHash passes it over to Duzin McCumber, and LaHash has been having crisp passes. Not really crisp, but, you know, shovel pass, and it's always been going to a Kahnawahke player going up the floor. Takes a shot. Kent Saylor goes off the roof of the Rouses Point Civic Center, and Ganienkeh gets the ball. Again, 5-3 for the Mohawks as the Gunners come up the floor. We do have number 66, Glenn Swamp, comes in, flip pass over to the boards, but regained by number 6. Ryan Deere, who was probably playing a few shifts in this game. Jamie Kirby passed it. Uh-oh. We did see an altercation, and Robert Gray lost his brain on that play, but the ball is going to go back to the goalie. And Mark Baranowski, it appears to me that there's going to be a penalty call on the play, as Robert Gray went after Herbie Kirby, and Herbie didn't want anything to do with it.
Well, Herbie Kirby is one of those players that's an instigator. He's a lot like Claude Lemieux. He'll go in, he'll give you a hit, and then he'll turn away. And that was his whole goal, was he wanted to get a power play opportunity for Kahnawahke. And Robert Gray should have known better, should have kept his cool, kept his gloves on. He's going to get a penalty for it, and it's going to be saved. It's going to be served by Jamie Kirby. So talk about brotherly love.
And that's not going to be a good thing for the Ganienkeh Gunners, as Jamie Kirby happens to be a big force for the Gunners team. And without him on the floor for 2 minutes, another goal for the Mohawks could prove not really fatal, but heading towards that way, Mike.
It definitely could. And if anything, the Mohawks, if the Gunners wanted to put a player in the box, I think I would have chose a lesser player than Jamie Kirby, because you want him out on the floor, either on the power play, you want him on defense, you want him there all the time helping out in your team. But for Herbie Kirby, that was a good move on his part. Sometimes you get caught by the referees for instigating, but that time he got away.
Jamie Kirby in the penalty box for the Ganienkeh Gunners, and like you said, Mike, maybe if JT was here, he'd probably be in the box.
He probably would.
Thank you. We'll just leave it at that. Just remember, he's 27, 6 foot, 230 pounds. And the play is about to be blown in with 4 minutes and 11 seconds left in the second period. A low-scoring affair, as the Mohawks are leading by a score of 5-3, but now they're on the power play, as Robert Gray takes 2 minutes for roughing, and Jamie Kirby will be serving the penalty. Mohawks attempt to get the ball, but they don't. The Gunners regain. And Herbie Kirby slipped on the play. It must be this humidity in the arena. It's been very hot as of late in Montreal and including here Rouses Point, New York area, and the humidity seems to have a dangerous effect on the floor.
Yeah, it seems to also be having an effect on the referees. They made another strange call, gave Kahnawahke possession, and some of the fans are not too happy about it, and I'm kind of confused.
Well, if you're confused, then I'm very confused, but we're not confused that the Kahnawahke Mohawks are on the power play. Adam Rice with the shot, and there's a goal by Adam Rice. Picks the top corner over Robert Gray as Jamie Kirby comes out of the penalty box with 3:37 left in the second period. Kahnawahke is now up by 3 goals, Mike.
Well, that's going to be a big 3-hole mountain there for the Ganienkeh Gunners to climb, because they came within 2. Now they're back down by 3. So they're going to have to stay out of the penalty box area. They're going to have to control the ball, close their defense in, and they're going to have to get more quality shots there, Al. Robert Gray, for his part, has been playing good. He made one bad move there. He got a little love tap there by Herbie Kirby, but he was the one who paid for it, and his team paid the price getting a power play goal scored on him.
Kahnawahke needs Ken Linsman on the team like the rat to stir up, not controversy, but, stir the pot once in a while. And Kirby did that for Robert Gray.
Well, Herbie Kirby's very effective at that. He's done it in many games this season for Kahnawahke, and he draws more penalties than he ever gets.
Joseph McCumber loses his footing on the play, but Herbie Kirby comes in the zone. He's got 2 defenders on him, 2 huge defenders on him. Kelly Williams gets him out of the corner. Joseph McCumber with the ball. David McCumber over to Herbie Kirby, takes a shot. Robert Gray makes a save. And the Gunners almost regain control, but they don't seem to have control, and nobody has control except we. We're in the game, and so are you at home on Hometown Cable, watching Gunners LaCrosse here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. Bobby Delarone takes another slip, and this floor is definitely becoming a factor. The last time we saw this was back in Valleyfield when Kahnawahke played their first game against the Dynamite. The score was 8-7, and Barry Alfred, after the second period, had said a protest to the referees because of the floor not being in quality shape. But Steve Jacobs makes a shot for the Gunners and misses Mark Chalks, who's had little to hardly any not shots on goal, but quality shots on goal. And that one's another one as he's cleared out. And another shot on goal as he clearly sees that one. Bobby Delarone clears his man. We have David Horn And number 9, Phil Swamp, is trying to find Phil over to his man, takes a shot on goal, and it's Allenhorn in the corner. Seal Robertson, number 7 now for Kahnawahke. And the Gunners get the ball as Mark Mayo starts stirring up a little bit of action on Steve Jacobs.
Well, I wouldn't want to stir some action up with Steve Jacobs because he's a Golden Gloves boxer.
And, well, Ben Payson knows the same thing, but we probably won't be seeing that happen tonight, as both teams seem to be having a great game. 6-3 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks with 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the second period here at the Rouses Point Civic Center, and you're watching it live on Hometown Cable. Neil McCumber, he hasn't played very much after popping his knee against Valleyfield going in on a breakaway, and a play is thrown into the corner, and Gunners have possession right now. As soon as Chuck Maranowski blows it in, and he does. Jamie Kirby bounce pass up the floor, and Ryan Deere over to number 18, Elliot Lazor, flips it over to Steve Jacobs, and a nice backhand pass which doesn't see any kind of net at all, and Dustin McCumber slowly comes in. He's watching the floor very well since it is very humid in here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. Passes it over to nobody, but it goes into the boards. Roger Moses picks it up, flips it over to Dave McCumber, shot on goal, and the ball goes out into the zone. And there's no call on the play. It appeared to be a tripping penalty, and Adam Rice is hacking his man, Elliot Lazor, and both referees don't call it.
That should have been a double penalty there, one for tripping and one for slashing on the helmet. But boy, the referees are really putrid tonight.
They're letting the game go at the 26 seconds left in the second period, and it's a 3-goal lead for Kahnawahke Mohawks. 2 shots left on the shot clock.
Well, Al, if you look over to our right, you can see the fans getting incensed, standing up, and they're hollering at the referees, and the referees are not making any calls.
With 14 seconds left in the second period, and Seal Robertson takes a shot on goal. David Montour picks it up. John Seal Robertson, don't hear myself saying John very often, but Seal gets the ball. 1 second left, and the whistle is blown, and the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners after the second period by a score of 6-3, and not that very much action, but Ganienkeh having 2 power play goals in the game so far.
Well, they had, but the only problem there, Al, is they're not getting enough of them. They got 1 power play goal here in the second period from Kevin Wells, number 88. They also got another goal, number 12, from the little-known Alan Horn, who's out there now in the Ganienkeh Gunners lineup. But for the Mohawk side, you had Clayton Dibo, you had Derek Stacey getting his second, you had number 5, Adam Rice, getting Kahnawahke's first power play goal of the game, and also veteran David McCumber, restoring Kahnawahke's 3-goal margin. They're up 6-3 going into the third period. They got to feel comfortable with it, Al, because we don't see many offensive opportunities. They are getting some shots, but they're not really quality shots. They're not making the goalies move. Gray's not moving. Mark Jockson not moving. They're basically playing positional defense. And what both teams want to do is they want to get both goalies moving around so they can get better scoring opportunities. In the third period, we're going to see which team has more stamina to try and pull this off.
Well, let's hope the floor will not play a factor in this one, as it has been for the first 2 periods. A lot of people taking many slides, and it has been showing up on both sides of the floor. At the end of the second period, the Kahnawahke Mohawks are leading the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 6-3. You're watching Gunners LaCrosse on Hometown Cable, live at the Rouses Point Civic Center. And we're back at the Rouses Point Civic Center for the third period of Gunners LaCrosse on Hometown Cable. Al Brignall along with Michael Rice, 6-3 with 1 period to go, and a very low scoring affair in this one.
Definitely there, Al. 6-3 is a very unusual score in a game of lacrosse, but we've seen it happen 2 weeks ago when Ganienkeh beat the Onondaga Warriors 7-6. But right now, Ganienkeh is on the lower end of the scale, and if they want to turn the tables here with the Mohawks, they're going to have to do it quick. They only have 20 minutes, and the Mohawks have one of the strongest defense, and their defense begins with their goalie, Mark Jocks.
As the play is almost underway, and just to mention that the World Games are going in Baltimore, Maryland, so a number of Iroquois Lacrosse Association teams have a number of players over there, so it's going to look real interesting for the bottom 4 teams that are vying for the last 2 playoff spots.
Well, unfortunately, this Iroquois national teams affects the Ganienkeh Gunners more than anybody. They lost a number of players who were playing down in Baltimore. Roger Red Moses of Kahnawahke was supposed to play, but he chose to stay, and he's here playing with the Mohawks tonight.
And he has 1 goal on the night. Don't know how many assists he has, but I'm sure that we'll find it out later. We do have Herbie Kirby coming in, takes a hit, and Mark Baranowski was about to put the whistle in the mouth, but he decides not to. Mike Lazar takes a shot on Robert Gray, and the Mohawks get the ball. Mike Lazar comes in, submarine shot, and it doesn't get into Robert Gray's zone, where Roger Moses has the ball, comes in, right side, and the Gunners lose possession. David Cumber with the shot, and it looked like a goal. It looked like Mark Baranowski had a hands up in the air, but there's no goal on the play.
I think what happened there was it hit the face mask of Robert Gray, and it bounced over and hit the back of the net. It looked like it went in.
Jamie Kirby is coming in. He's taken out of the play. There's a low slash on by Adam Rice. Hits him right in the ankle. 2 slashes by Adam Rice. But now there's a check on the pads, and there's no penalty being called because it is what they call a legal hit. Adam Rice is tied up. Jamie Kirby with the ball, back pass, and Mark Jocks doesn't see that one, but it doesn't matter because he didn't save it, and there's a change of possession, and the Mohawks pick up the ball with Herbie Kirby coming in on the right side. Pass it over to Dave Montour. Dave Montour with the high shot, saved by Robert Gray, and Herbie Kirby comes in. He is checked into the boards, and checked once again, and checked again, and checked again, click, and checked again. Derek Stacy with it. 2 goals on the night, takes a shot. And there's a save by Robert Gray. There's a late hit by Derek Stacy. Gray gets the ball. Back 2. And Mark Baranowski calls the play back to the Gunners, or the Mohawks, for 5 seconds. Hits right off the post, and there's a check in the crease. Derek Stacy with the ball over to Dustin McCumber. Slash on the play. Derek Stacy tries to get into the open. He doesn't seem to be getting that one. A backslash by a Gunner player, and Derek Stacy still with the ball. And Neil McCumber's on the floor. Dustin McCumber's on the floor. Where's Dave McCumber? We'd have McCumber from McCumber and McCumber. As Neil McCumber goes into the corner with Kent Saylor. Loose ball. And Neil doesn't want to have another injury on the play if somebody does anything to him. Kent Saylor with the shot, and it doesn't go on goal. Robert Gray didn't see that one. Dave Montour over to Derek Stacy, walks in, and he scores. And there's no goal. He steps in the crease.
It was in the crease definitely in that one, but it would have been a nice goal and give Derek Stacy a hat trick. But the referees they're going to call the play dead because I believe they're going to be giving a penalty there to Derek Stacy, who appears to be exchanging some words with, I believe that's Stevie Jacobs, and now Herbie Kirby's coming out having words with him. And Stevie Jacobs is a tough character. He was a big player with the Ganienkeh Outlaws, and this guy will go toe-to-toe with anybody.
And Derek Stacy gets 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct with 17 minutes 13 left in the 3rd period as the Gunners go on a power play. Gunners come in, takes a shot, and there's a shot on goal. And the Gunners regain possession. Jamie Curry with a shot and a save by Mark Jocks. But they get the ball back. Number 88. Another Delarone. There's the penalty. And the Mohawks are going to go 2 men down with Jamie Kirby on the point. And they're going to run this clock down with a 5-on-3 coming up. And Alan Horn slips on the play. It is the floor, ladies and gentlemen. It is the floor that's doing problems for both teams. Mark Jocks makes a save, and now it becomes interesting. 16 minutes, 28 seconds left, 5-on-3 for the Gunners.
Well, definitely here, because now the Ganienkeh Gunners are going to get a 2-man advantage, and Herbie Lahash gets caught putting a hit behind the play, taking down Stevie Jacobs. And the Mohawks appear to be incensed with Jacobs, but Jacobs is another player like Herbie Kirby. He can go out, he can instigate, he can draw a penalty. And what he's doing is he's getting under the Mohawk skin, something that he did quite often when he was playing for the Outlaws.
And Herbie Lahash, who is known for his qualities in anger management, took 2 minutes on that play.
Well, I think Herbie, if he's working an anger manager, I think him and Derek better cool it here if they want to keep the Mohawks in this game, because you don't want to give the Gunners power play opportunities.
And the Gunners take the shot. Kevin Wells makes that play. Shot on goal. And the Mohawks get the ball.
Well, the Mohawks are coming up, and they're going to be killing a big power play opportunity, but Ganienkeh gets the ball back.
And Kevin Wells passes it over to Steve Jacobs. Mark Jocks makes a save. And there's a hit behind the play. And the Mohawks get the ball on a 5-on-3. And what the Mohawks are going to try and do is kill this 5-on-3. Not try to be very fancy on this. They're going to be killing it. And they're doing a good job so far. But there's a loose ball in the corner, and Phil Swamp goes after it. But he misses the ball. And Dozen McCumber gingerly goes back. Uh-oh. Now, 3 men down. Dozen McCumber talks back to the ref, and he gets a misconduct.
I believe he's going to get a delay of game there because Baranowski told him to put the ball down there. Instead, he tossed it back into the corner in Ganienkeh's zone. And boy, the momentum here is shifting in the game for the Ganienkeh Gunners, because now the referees are giving 3 unprecedented opportunities for Ganienkeh and Allen. They're leaving us wondering what's going on here tonight.
Well, at 15 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third period, it is more than an ideal time for the Ganienkeh Gunners to come back into this one. They were never really out of it, and they still aren't. Only 3 goals down, and it's 6-3 as the Mohawks come into the zone with Neil Cross spinning in, and a change of possession, and the Mohawks get the ball. They come up the floor. Actually, no, the Gunners get the ball. It is Andy Thomas. And there's a shot that misses Mark Jocks and hits the top of the Rouses Point Civic Center. And Roger Moses with the ball for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. Bounce pass up the floor, which is a good play for Roger Moses. Goes into the corner, and that kills quality seconds off the clock. And there is 3 men in the box.
There seems to be some confusion, though, with the timekeeper there, Al, because you look up, there's no time running down, so we don't know how much of a power play opportunity that Ganienkeh has remaining.
Well, let's hope there's some stopwatch person in there that can help us out. As a whistle was played and Ganienkeh gets the ball, Jamie Kirby gets it. And Kirby with the shot, and it bounces into almost our area. And there's another fan that gets the lucky ball.
I think that ball was for us there, Al.
Almost. David Montour with the shot. Robert Gray makes the save as there's a hit by Herbie Kirby on Kevin Wells, and both referees didn't see it, and Steve Jacobs with the ball. Steve Jacobs comes in. We definitely know that there's 1 Kahnawahke Mohawk in the box. Uh-oh. It looks like a fight on the play, and Derek Stacey, if he goes after his man, that could be a 3-game penalty, and it looks like it's going to be that way. Derek Stacey has had a number of penalties, a number of fighting penalties, and he's been warned that if he does fight, he'll get 3 games.
Well, he's going to have to watch out because he's in it with a tough character there. That's Stevie Jacobs, and he's a very tough one. You can see he's like a bull. He's got Derek Stacey down. And Derek Stacey doesn't want to let a guy like Stevie Jacobs get his hands loose. As I mentioned earlier, he's a boxer. And he's not going to forget Stacey for that one. He wants Stacey to go.
All right, we're gonna see probably more penalties on the play. Steve Jacobs actually pulled at the face mask of Derek Stacey, and he's going to be getting the gate. It appears that he's going to be getting a gate 5 for fighting and at least a 5 for a face mask. And if the referees didn't see that, then we did, because we did see Steve Jacobs pulling at the mask of Derek Stacey.
I think the referees didn't let it go there, Al, because they saw that Derek Stacey was instigating the fight, and they've been going after Stevie Jacobs all night. And one of the problems is, Al, Derek Stacey is a very good lacrosse player. One thing he has is a very short temper, and it gets him in trouble. And a thing like that, your team's up 6-3. You don't need to fight at this point in the game. You just got to play the game. But this is one of the things that happens. The Mohawks have a weakness. They fall into the penalty trap. They get ahead. They take what I call stupid penalties because it's uncalled for, Al, because both teams were playing the game.
And we're going to have a little delay in the action as the referees, Chuck and Mark Marinowski, are sorting out this one. It is 6-3 with 13 minutes and 59 seconds left in the third period here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. You're watching Gunners LaCrosse on the Hometown Cable. And the Gunners have 5 games left, and 3 of these games are pretty close ones for the Ganienkeh Gunners. Their next game is against the Tyondenaga Wolfpack on the road at the Deseronto Arena on July 19th. Then they take on Valleyfield at l'Arena de Salaberry in Valleyfield, and that game will be on July 23rd. Back in Kahnawahke on July 25th. That is a Saturday night game, and they take on Oneida, the Silverhawks, who are doing a number, and that game is going to be on July the 26th right here at the Rouses Point Civic Center, and will be live on Hometown Cable. As we have 13 minutes and 59 seconds left, and the referees are sorting everything out.
And Stevie Jacobs from the game. And Al, I think that's a good call, because in a game of lacrosse, if you got players that are going to want to just go at each other and fight, you're better off to nip the problem in the bud early, send them to the locker rooms, tell them to take a shower, cool down, calm down, and let the teams play.
Well, it didn't appear that Derek Stacy was blowing his head throughout the game, as he had 2 goals already in this contest. But it looks to me that Steve Jacobs and okay, that's good. That's, they fight on the floor, they do a good job, and then afterwards, just let bygones be bygones, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, definitely there, Al. In the game of lacrosse, the players always have to leave whatever happens on the floor, but sometimes some of the things that happen on the floor, you wish it was never out there. And that's something that always has been marring the game, Al. This hasn't been something that's been happening recently, but it's been something historical since the game's been played in the early 1800s back in Montreal. Early leagues, sports writers, observers, fans have always been lamenting the fact that the chippy play gets in, the fighting, when it doesn't belong there. Because when you watch the game, it's great, it's exciting, it's something that for people to come out and watch. But when you start getting players taking it a bit too personal, that's when you want to see that taken off the floor, and you just want to see 2 teams play it out, play a clean game. And for the most part, Al, we've seen an entertaining contest. We've got a good crowd here this evening with us here at the Rouses Point Civic Center, and I think that's the way it should be, and that's the way the game should go.
And what we also heard, like during the second and third intermission when we were off the air, is that the half and half was $143 here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. So there is a huge number of people in the stands on the one-sided Rouses Point Civic Center, but there are seats on one side. And if they did have a structure which had stands around, I think it would be a much bigger crowd than this.
I definitely will there, Al. I know that earlier in the season, me and Joe Delarone had done a game right in Ganienkeh, Al, right in front of the Ganienkeh Territorial Bingo, in an old-fashioned wooden box. Boy, and it was hot that day. Al, that would be something to see, though. And I think this would be a decision that the Ganienkeh Gunners management will have to make, Al, is to actually play in Ganienkeh. And not very often do we see teams play in their hometown. We have the Oneida Silverhawks, who play in Rome, New York. And too bad they're not called the Romans, but they're the Silverhawks. We'd like to see them play in Oneida. And I hope that's something that happens next year. I'd love to see the Ganienkeh Gunners play right in Ganienkeh, because it gives you the sense of continuity. Kahnawahke Mohawks play in Kahnawahke. It wouldn't be the same if they played in LaSalle.
Yes, and we all know what happened. Well, some of you people know what happened in LaSalle a while back as the juniors were playing there. The Gunners actually played outdoors in Ganienkeh, and they defeated the Outlaws by a score of 13-12 in the blazing heat. And what the 2 teams did before during the overtime period, saying 1 goal wins, because it was too hot to play a full 10 minutes, and they agreed on it, and the Ganienkeh Gunners won that game by a score of 13-12. As play resumes after a long delay, and a Gunner player, Elliot Lazor, gets downed on the play, and Andy Thomas picks up the ball, takes a shot on goal, and it registers, and Andy Thomas does not get the ball, but a Mohawk player does, and Adam Rice comes up. Dustin McCumber flips it to Adam Rice. Adam Rice, left side, back pass. Slash on the play. Kent Saylor misses the net, and Dustin McCumber doesn't pick up the ball. There's a slash on the play. Elliot Lazor comes in, and there's a one-on-one with Ben Paisano. And the big hit, Elliot, the shot on goal. And Ben Paisano doesn't want to have anything to do with the net. He probably wants a piece of Elliot Lazor, but Lazor doesn't want anything to do with him.
No, definitely not at all. Elliot Lazor wanted to draw a penalty there, and you seen him go in, picked up the loose ball. He saw Ben Paisano getting ready to put the big check on him, but Elliot Lazor has the size, knocked Ben over, and then you saw David Montour coming in to help out, leapfrogging Ben Paisano, both of them getting knocked down. And I think Ben was a little bit upset that Elliot pulled a little fast one on them.
And Ganienkeh is needing all the fast ones they can get as they're down by 3 goals with 12 minutes and 53 seconds left in the third period. Mohawks come in. There looked like it was going to be a penalty on the play for Bobby Delarone. And Roger Moses takes a bounce pass and scores. And the Mohawks now lead by 4. They have never led by 4 in the game with 12:46 left. And it seems at this point that Kahnawahke may be taking the slow advantage and putting the bullets to the Gunners.
Well, they definitely are there. Roger Ed Moses getting his second of the game. That was unassisted, picking up the rebound. I think he took advantage of the fact that the ball was bouncing in. Nobody was really controlling the ball. Roger Ed Moses, he's very quick. He's very agile. He's very skilled with the stick there, Al. We've seen him all season. He came in, and if you give him a chance to pick up the ball in front of the net, he doesn't make very many mistakes in front of the goalie. And you've seen the Ganienkeh players putting their heads down, complaining, how could we let a guy like Roger Red Moses walk by us? But they did. Now the Mohawks are up 7-3, and Ganienkeh is going to have to keep their focus and composure and come back in this game.
Well, with Steve Jacobs out and Derek Stacey out, Ganienkeh is losing a factor in Jacobs, as he is known to be a good point man, but he is out of the game. And there's a shot on goal, Mark Jocks. And number 17, Philip White, hasn't played very much, loses his helmet, and he goes to the bench. And there is a change, and Ganienkeh will be getting the ball back. And Phil Swamp goes into the right side for the Gunners.
I think what happened there was a Kahnawahke player put a hit on a Ganienkeh player, and he lost possession for their team.
And the Gunners, Phil Swamp has the ball. Passes it over to number 17, Philip White. Philip White over to number 12, which is Alan Horn. Over to David Horn. David Horn with the shot on goal. Mark Jocks makes the save. He has been busy tonight as Clayton Dybo picks up the ball, loose ball. And the Mohawks regain possession. David Montour over to Herbie Kirby. Herbie waits, flips, pass, and it's off the goalpost. Robert Gray didn't see that, but luckily it went off the post. Neil McCumber over to Kent Saylor, and there's no shot on goal. Ben Paisano goes in the corner for the Mohawks on the right side. He comes out again, flips it over to Bobby Delarone with the big shot, and another blast from Bobby Delarone as he goes down. A slash on the hands, and a shot on goal. Robert Gray makes a save. The Gunners come out, and it's a 3-on-1. Number 88, Kevin Wells, comes in, fakes shot, and Mark Jocks makes the save. And Kevin Wells goes in the corner for the Gunners, and he gets the ball again. Passes it out to, tries to find a Ganienkeh player, but they do regain possession. A bounce pass over to Jamie Kirby, and Kirby comes in. The 23-year-old takes a shot, goes into the mesh, and the Mohawks regain possession with 10 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third period.
Well, Al, since we had that little scuffle earlier, this is returning into a much more entertaining contest here for our viewers.
That has been. Jamie Kirby misses a flash. Mikey Lazar comes in, right side. He's checked on the play. A loose ball goes into the Gunner bench as David McCumber tried to pick that up, but the Mohawks will regain, actually they won't regain possession. The Gunners will get it back. 10 minutes, 17 seconds left. Jamie Kirby comes in.
I don't know if that's 11 minutes there, Al. They might be pulling tricks with that clock on us again.
Well, it has been known to be doing some funky things. Adam Thomas with a shot and a score on the play. A blast from the point, and Andy Thomas makes the score 10-9 not 10-4, but 7-4, with 10 minutes and 4 seconds left, Mike.
Well, that's got to be a big goal there for Ganienkeh, because we had Andy Thomas all night there, Al. We've been talking about him. We saw him earlier in the season. He played very intensively for the Ganienkeh Gunners. He got a big goal there. Do you see him? He's go, woo. He breathed a sigh of relief that he finally got on the scoreboard. He brought his team within 3, and this is the key for Ganienkeh. They got to remain focused. They got to keep that box-like defense. Robert Gray can do a lot on his part, but he's only the goalie. He's got other teammates on his team who got to do their part, and the Ganienkeh offense has to start producing.
And if the 4 missing Ganienkeh players would be back in the lineup tonight, it would be that much more close. 7-4 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. Tuck Marinowski dives out of the way of the ball, which is still loose, but Herbie LaHasse picks it up, and once again, Duzin McCumber gets it. That tandem has been doing well. Herbie LaHasse over to Duzin McCumber. But now, Herbie Kirby tries to be a rat on the play, and there's no penalties. It's let them play. And that's how the pace of the game has been going in the third period. Let them play. And that they have. Van Pacino clear. Bounces off a Ganienkeh player. Shot on goal. Robert Gray makes a save. And Ganienkeh gets a ball because Neil McCumber touches the ball, or the stick of Robert Gray, when the play was being passed to a Ganienkeh player. Bobby Delarone, that point shot is lethal for him. Very lethal. If you feel a shot by him, it's deadly.
Well, you don't want to be a goalie with Bobby Delarone shooting, because Al, he has a cannon of a shot. And we hear it sometimes when it hits the goalie, when you hear him go, ooh.
I wouldn't want to be a goaltender in front of a Bobby Delarone. There's a hit behind a play. Neil McCumber hits his man, but referee Mark Baranowski didn't see it, and a Gunner player is looking right at Mark.
Well, definitely there, Al. This hasn't been one of the greatest games there for the refs, and we've seen some really cheap calls here tonight. And like I said earlier, the ILA is going to have to do something to improve on their officiating.
Ben Pacino was really giving to his men as the Mohawks now come up the floor. And Corey Morquay hasn't seen much action tonight as he goes off once again. Kent Saylor takes a shot, and there's a shot on goal. Robert Gray makes a save. And Andy Thomas runs right at Kent Saylor, but the good doctor said, nah, I don't want it. I don't want any of it. And now we have a situation where Bobby Delarone is going to the bench, and it looks like David Horn is going off.
Well, definitely. We saw some instigation there behind the play. We've seen both Horn and Delarone hitting each other behind the play. And earlier in the game, we saw something going on there with David Horn. But in this case, there's no damage done there, Al, because Bobby Delarone's going out for the Mohawks, and I think that he's a much more offensive player. And I think the Ganienkeh Gunners come out a lot bigger on that one. But it kind of took away from the game there. We also saw some hitting in front of Robert Gray. We just seen Andy Thomas get frustrated with the officiating of Mark Baranowski in front of the nets, and Andy Thomas cured 2 Mohawks by himself out of the zone. So I think the players are going to have some comments to make after the game.
And Bobby Delarone is not known to take not really dumb penalties. It wasn't a dumb penalty. It was like offsetting penalties, but it's a little bit of a loss for the Mohawks, because when you have a big shot like Bobby Delarone has, it can be testy at times.
Well, I think what happens there, Al, is they're in the heat of the game. They're out there. They're tired. They've been playing hard. Sometimes their emotions get the better of the players, and they tend to take retaliation penalties on each other. And you get caught, and you got to pay the price.
And Jamie Kirby paid the price on that play as both his stick and his glove went flying. Shades of Charlie Brown when he gets knocked by a pitch and all his clothes fly off. And there's a cross check by Jamie Kirby, but there's no penalty on the play. And the Ganienkeh Gunners get the ball, and Jamie Kirby picks it up and comes in on the left side, off his wing, takes a shot, doesn't go anywhere near Mark Jocks, but Phil Swamp gets it right off Mark Jocks, and a loose ball in the corner, and Herbie Kirby almost gets tripped up, and he's got to beat 1-2 guys, and Herbie Kirby retaliates, and once again, Mark Baranowski does not see that one. The Gunner player did not see the pass of the ball.
I think what they're doing now, Al, is the referees are letting both teams play, and they're not going to call nothing unless it's extremely serious.
Because it's that close in the game. Corey Marker with a shot, and Robert Gray makes a save. Mark Mayo misses the pass, and it goes down. David Montour in Kahnawahke's zone as he almost falls on a play.
Well, Al, I don't know if you haven't noticed there, but the scorekeeper hasn't put up that fourth goal for the Ganienkeh Gunners. We know it's up there, but it's not on the scoreboard.
Well, let's hope by the tone of our voices can put them in. There's a McCumber, make the save. Actually, he doesn't, makes the pass. Uh-oh, Mark Mayo. Mark Mayo almost, it looks like he blows his knee on that play. He's having a very hard time with it. And there's something wrong. Yes, it is. It looks like his knee just popped right out. It looks like it has. Or he pulled a cramp. And he's not showboating on this. I've seen many players get cramps, and it's very hard. And I'm sure he's not feeling very good at this point.
No, Al, there we can see that Mark is in extreme pain, but he's toughing it out. He doesn't want to injure it more. He's holding up. And Donnie Thomas, who's the general manager of the Mohawks, they're helping him off the floor, but he's in extreme pain. Also, the doctor was there, Kent Saylor, helping him off the floor, but boy, he's toughing it out. And I think the smart move for him is to take his weight off that leg and sit down there, Al, and have it checked.
He is in excruciating pain outside the floor. And as he was going off, he was grunting in huge pain. And anybody else in his condition would probably faint from this, especially in this humidity. But Mark Mayo is a trooper, and he's in bad pain, but he guaranteed he'll be back for the next game, I hope.
Well, I think what they should do, though, Mark, I think they definitely do need to have a doctor in the house for any game, any sport activity, because you never know, Al. Players can get injured, and nobody better than the doctor to analyze what's going on, because Mark Mayo he's in quite a bit of pain, and I think somebody should be tending to him, Al. We're going to see what's going to happen here. We heard some of the loudest cheers of the night there as the scorekeeper finally puts up the fourth goal for the Ganienkeh Gunners. He gets a big round of applause, and you can see him laughing over there in the penalty box scorekeeping area.
Okay, now we can say Kahnawahke is leading 7-4 here at the Rouses Point Civic Center. Al Briand along with Michael Rice on Hometown Cable. You're watching Gunners LaCrosse. And the Mohawks get the ball. Deuxié McCumber comes in. Neil McCumber on the point. Submarine shot. And Robert Gray with the save. Over to Andy Thomas. 6 minutes and 11 seconds left in the third period. It is a close game. And Jay Delarone, who hasn't played very much, passes the ball over to the Mohawks. Gives it right to him. Bobby Delarone with it. Over to Roger Moses. Comes in. Flip pass. Ben Paisano loses the ball, but he gets it right back. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Adam Rice in front of Robert Gray, getting pushed away by Andy Thomas, but Rice comes in, takes a shot on goal, and there is a save by Robert Gray. At 66, Glenn Swamp takes a pass over to Bobby Delarone with a shot, and there's a save by Robert Gray, and the play now goes up the floor, but it is a bounce pass to number 12, Alan Horn, takes a shot on goal, and there's a save by Mark Josh. Alan Horn comes in with a wide pass over to his Ganienkeh player, takes a slash right on the hand. Jamie Kirby on the point, number 15 for the Gunners, comes in on the left. The box is tight. Loose ball, Clayton Daibo, and the floor has definitely become a factor in the first, second, and third period. Many players have been sliding on this as Neil Cross gets to his man, and it is white ball. The Gunners regain possession with 4 minutes and 55 seconds left. The Kahnawahke Mohawks are still leading by a score of 7-4.
Well, it's definitely been a very entertaining contest here, Al, and we hope it continues that way for the last 4 minutes and 45 seconds of this game.
And there's a save by Mark Jocks, and there's some confusion on this. It's supposed to be Gunners' ball, but no. Mark Granowski waved it off, and Deuxié McCumber scores for the Kahnawahke Mohawks, and now it's a 4-goal lead with 4 minutes and 34 seconds left. Deuxié McCumber having his goal, his first of the night. Mike?
Well, it's his first goal of the night, but all night he's been a factor out there, Al. He's been effective on penalty killing. He's been effective at picking up loose balls, running the ball up the floor, but there appeared to be a bit of confusion as the Ganienkeh players thought they had scored on Mark Jocks, and they were looking over at referee Chuck Baranowski if he was going to make a call, but he wasn't. The Mohawks were able to get the ball up to Dudjie McCumber, and with Dudjie McCumber get some open room, he can take off with his blazing speed. He's a small player, but he's got big heart, he's got a big ability, and Al, a lot of people are surprised they don't know this, but Dudjie McCumber is the Mohawks' leading scorer.
Yes, that is. He has had a lot of points up until the past 3 games. Oh, there is a high stick on the play, and Chuck Baranowski saw that play all the way. Holding is the call, and number 13, Jay Delarone, is going off on the play.
Well, I don't think Baranowski had any choice on that one there, Al. It was pretty blatant that he was hauling him down. He had to call it, and I think at this point in the game, I think they're going to have to start calling the different penalties, Al. If things get out of hand, things can kind of slip away in the game, and they got to keep both teams focused, playing the game, keep them on track. But with the Ganienkeh Gunners now down 8-4 here, with 4 minutes and 23 seconds left, they're definitely going to have to be playing disciplined lacrosse to get back in this one, and it's going to be very tough.
And the Mohawks have at least 4 games left after this one. The Gunners will have the same thing too, as they go on the road for 3 and they come back right here at the Rouses Point Civic Center, where they take on the Oneida Silverhawks, which is a makeup game, and that game will be broadcast on Hometown Cable. Bobby Delarone sets up Dave McCumber, and Chuck Baranowski barely gets out of the way of that one, and Adam Rice makes a foul pass over to Bobby Delarone into Mark Jocks.
That's something rare we never see, because Adam Rice's passes and shots are always right on. So that's a rarity if you ever see it.
Well, it's one out of the many shots that has been taken by Adam Rice. You know, he can be fouled for 1, maybe 2, maybe a few. Bobby Delarone with the ball. Actually, no, that looks like Mikey Lazar, who hasn't played that much in the game, but still is a factor for the Kahnawahke Mohawks. And David McCumber gets the ball.
Well, what's been a big factor for the Mohawks, Al, has been their youth. Their youth have been great. Their speed, their control of the ball. They do a lot of work for the Mohawks, but the Mohawks also have the veterans up front who can put the ball in the net. So they have a good mix this year in their squad.
And one veteran that has been doing very well is number 77, David McCumber. And he has been putting the ball and the points on the board at will. Bobby Delarone takes a shot, and you know, if you stand in front of a Bobby Delarone point blast, sometimes it will go in, and that one just did, and that makes the score 9-4 for the Kahnawahke Mohawks with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left.
Well, Al, looking at that goal there by Bobby Delarone, that's a key one. They only got a little over 3 minutes left to play. They're down 9-4 here, Al. This pretty well puts the icing on the cake. In the game of lacrosse, it's not impossible to come back, but Al, at this point, I don't think the Ganienkeh Gunners are going to be able to come back from a 5-goal deficit to come back and even try to tie up this game with the Kahnawahke Mohawks. They had their chances earlier on in the game. They weren't able to capitalize on them, but they're going to have to try and do the best that they can, Al. They got to have to remain their composure, keep their focus, and keep playing the game, and they have to keep the Kahnawahke shooters away from Robert Gray.
Well, it's 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the third period. Any amounts of a comeback for the Gunners will have to be now, but now they're going to be going down a man as soon as the whistle is blown. As Mark Baranowski has his hand up, there's the late penalty call. 6 men on the floor, Bobby Delarone, and the best thing he can do is pass it over to McCumber. McCumber shot on goal, whistle was blown. And now you can sense that the Gunners have not given up, but you know are giving up in this one. 2 minutes 30 left, and the Mohawks are leading by 5.
Well, I think what the Mohawks are doing here, Al, is the Mohawks are shutting them down. They want to control the ball. They want to control the play. They're going to go in and take their shots, but they're not going to take any risky shots there, Al. They're going to try and keep the Gunners out. They're going to take their time. They're going to run down the clock. They're going to get quality shots, try and set up some quality plays, because they know that the Ganienkeh Gunners are able to play them close earlier in the game. They don't want to give them any opportunities to make it any closer. And as we know, the Mohawks have one of the best averages in the league. Their lowest goals scored against Kahnawahke, and they have a solid defense, they have a solid offense, and they also have a solid defensive pair in their goaltenders, Mark Jocks and Peter Paul, who give them the 1-2 punch. And I think they have to be up there and the tops in the league there, Al.
And both goaltenders were kind of like the Montreal Canadiens at the beginning of this year. One goalie starting, Andy Moog starting, Jocelyn Thibault starting another one. Both goalies can start, on alternate nights, and nothing, it'd hardly be a problem. Except maybe in the beginning of the year when the team wasn't gelling enough, but still, they regained composure, and now they're on a 14-game winning streak, which is soon to be 15, as Jay Delarone takes a shot on Mark Jocks, and there's a save on the play.
Well, you see some great individual hustle there by Jason Delarone. Controlled the play, fought off two Kahnawahke Mohawk, went in, but the key guy he couldn't beat was Mark Jocks, who happens to be the goaltender.
And Mark Jocks has allowed only 4 goals in this contest, and the Mohawks have put up 9. Adam Rice over to Bobby Delarone. Bobby Delarone back to Adam Rice. Adam Rice takes a shot. There's a save by Robert Gray. And Robert Gray has been playing very well for the Gunners. Had it been any other team, I guarantee it would have been a much closer game. But 9-4 is not that really far of a game. Jamie Kirby takes a shot on Mark Jocks with 1:21 seconds left. And the Mohawks go up the floor. Adam Rice gets the ball. And he passes it back to Bobby Delarone. Delarone with that point blast shot. And Jamie Kirby gets it. And throws it over to the floor. Bounces off the boards. He tries to get Alan Horn. And he finally does. Passes it over to 66 Glenn Swamp. And Swamp still has it. As they are killing off the penalty, what they should do is put the ball in the net. With 42 seconds left, it's 9-4. A lead pass off a Ganienkeh helmet, and Alan Horn regains control, and he throws it up the floor, and Phil Swamp gets it on the left-hand side. Mohawks making changes with 29 seconds left in the game. Mohawks are leading 9-4. Phil Swamp gets pushed into the boards, and there's a holding call by us, but not by the referees. David Montour passes it over to Ben Paysono, and Paysono losing control of the ball. The Gunners get possession, and Phil Swamp loses it. 2 seconds left, and that's going to be the end of the game, folks, as the Kahnawahke Mohawks defeated the Ganienkeh Gunners by a score of 9-4. And in the third period, scoring for the Ganienkeh Gunners was number 22, Andy Thomas. And for the Mohawks, it was Roger Moses, Duzzy McCumber, as well as Bobby Delarone.
Well, there's no surprise there, Al. Looking at Kahnawahke's scores, Kahnawahke spread their goals around. Kahnawahke has some of the top scorers, top shooters in the league. And this got to be tough for the Ganienkeh Gunners, because you look at the first period, they're down 2-1. The second period, Kahnawahke starts walking away. They're up on them 6-3. And then in the third period, again, they're outscored 3-1 in the third frame, which totals up to 9-4 for the Mohawks. But for the most part, it was an entertaining game there, Al. It was a tight defensive battle early on. But the Mohawks, with their experience, taking advantage of their opportunities, controlling and winning the loose balls, were able to put this game away. And in the third period, when they had to shut down the Ganienkeh Gunners, they closed the doors on them, and the Gunners had a very difficult time getting in and getting quality shots on Mark Jocks. And when they did get to Mark Jocks stood tall.
And the best defense in the league prevails as the Kahnawahke Mohawks win on the road against the Ganienkeh Gunners. And the next home game for Ganienkeh will be on July 26th at the Rouses Point Civic Center against the Oneida Silverhawks, and it will be broadcast on Hometown Cable. For Michael Rice, I'm Al Briand. The final score, the Kahnawahke Mohawks 9, the Ganienkeh Gunners 4. Good night from the Rouses Point Civic Center on Hometown Cable.